He's talking about a parallel universe. Let's get into this.
I slipped once.
Mm-hmm.
One time, I went in my house, but it was a different time. And a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I went in my house. I swear I'm not lying to you. It was a different time zone. So when I'm saying the universe, we live in a parallel universe.
Right.
Like the past and the future and the present, kind of like
They
all
run
connected.
concurrent. They can run.
All connected.
Yeah.
So it's loopholes in that. It's a computer. So that stuff happened. And the problem is a lot of people won't believe it. But it happens. Everything, listen, it happened. You just don't know. It's mermaids too.
What do you think about, like, okay, you know how they...
All right, so I wanted to find this because a lot of people don't understand what we mean when we say parallel dimensions. So I'm going to go into this real quick, and I hope that you guys can follow me. Because sometimes people don't understand what we mean when we say dimensions. And so let me kind of give you this visual. This is one of the ones that we show our students so we can understand what a parallel universe is. All right. So when we're talking about the first dimension, for those of y'all who've been in math and you've studied this, you know what the x-axis is. All right. It's a line. That would be considered your first dimension. Then we're talking about your second dimension. We're talking about height. So we'll be talking about length. And then we're talking about height. So you'd be your X dimension and then your Y dimension. That's your second dimension. And then we're talking about your third dimension. We're talking about depth. That would be considered the Z. All right. Now you got three dimensions. So when we talk about, what's going on in your third dimension, we're just talking about the things that you see, you feel, you touch. It's a box, it's a plate, it's a whatever it is, a computer. It's a third dimensional object with a length, height, and width. All right, that's what third dimension is. Now, when we start going into your fourth dimension, we're talking about the ancestral plane. We're talking about the dimension where your ancestors go when the body expires. You can see everything. You can hear everything. You can see the past, present, and future in this place. But you notice that nobody talking about we're going to be in the fourth dimension. No, they don't want to get stuck in that dimension. That's also considered a magical dimension. All right, we've moved through that now. We in the fifth dimension now. All right. So, but what happens is your third dimension is like your universe. It's everything that it's your mama, your daddy, your sister, your cousin, your lover, your workers, your co-workers, the people who you don't know, the birds and the bees, the nature, all of this is your third dimension, which is a reflection of you. All right, let me carry on. So in your third dimension, as I said, we're moving through the fourth because that's the ancestral plane. But in your third dimension, we're moving into the fifth dimension now. With the fourth dimension, again, that's where you see everything, you know everything, but that's a dimension where your ancestors reside. And let's understand that those of us who are in tune, like this guy, he's some kind of way in tune. All right, like me. Look, we can hear the ancestors speak. We are tuned in to a frequency where they are, and we can hear them speak. Now, when we're moving into the fifth dimension, that's another sense that you're developing now. All right. And it's similar to the x-axis, but it deals with your actions. And I'm going to go through this quickly. All right. So let me make this clear before I go on into this, because somebody asked a question about, am I experiencing life or am I making a decision? So let's use this as an example. Let's say you are walking and you walking along a sidewalk and you almost walk off the curb, but you catch yourself before you walk off the curb and a big bus comes by. It zooms by, and had you stepped off that curb, you would have been gone. You would have been splat. Well, in the dimension where your consciousness resides, you didn't get hit by that bus, but in another dimension, you got hit by that bus. All right. but your consciousness is not in that dimension. It's in this dimension. And the reason why you didn't get hit by that bus has to do with something else in your past that protected you from getting hit by that bus. I'm not going into that right now because that's another deeper story. But let's look at these dimensions here. These are dimensions. They're side by side. So right here, let's say that this is where you get hit by that bus because you're in a lower vibratory frequency. Now, there's other dimensions over here that's in the negative. We don't deal with that over there. We only dealing in the positive because that's where we stand. All right. But right here, that would be the lowest dimension you're in, and you would have been hit by that bus. But because of some previous actions that you did, and I'm talking about you did something positive to keep you getting hit from that bus. Your subconscious or your consciousness is in this dimension here, as opposed to this one down here. So all of these, they look the same. They look like they're the same exact dimension, but they have different energies and frequencies associated with them. So because you are in a higher vibratory frequency and you did some other positive actions, you weren't down here to get hit by that bus. Okay, let me go on. Because then you have, this is the fifth dimension, actions. Your sixth dimensions would be the vibratory frequency. Meaning, how do you feel? Are you happy or sad? Notice your lower vibratory frequencies are down here in the red and the yellow. These are lower vibratory frequencies. Whereas your higher vibratory frequencies are up here. All right, now look at all these extra dimensions that are popping up now. These are all parallel dimensions dealing with your action and your vibratory frequency. So if you have a positive energy, a positive vibratory frequency up here, and the actions that you've been taking, that's going to determine which one of these dimensions that you are in. All of them look the same, but they're not. All of these dimensions, they look, your mama gonna look the same, your daddy, your cousin, your wife, but because of your frequency, they're not the same. They have to change based on your energy. Okay, let me go on. Because now, when we're talking about, this is the fifth, actions is the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, vibratory frequency. Now, let's go into the seventh dimension. What do you believe? All right, what am I talking about? Have you all, if you've ever talked to any kind of people who deal with the ill, medical people, doctors, nurses, they will tell you that the people, when they've been told, oh, you're going to die, you got 4 months to live, the people who believe that, they're the ones who die. But the ones who say, nah, I know my God. The ones who have a different belief system and say, no, I'm going to beat this. Those are the ones who are most likely to live. That's because of their belief system. So once again, look at all of these parallel dimensions in here. And what happens is we learn, and this going back to that question where somebody said, do I have a choice or am I just experiencing it? All right, all of your dimensions have been created for you, yes. But which one you decide to be in has everything to do with your actions, your vibratory frequency, and your beliefs. So we're going from the third dimension where you didn't know what was happening. Everything was just happening to you and you just sit back and let it happen, to learning how to control your third dimension, and that's by controlling your actions, your vibratory frequency, and your beliefs. When you do that, this is when you start creating your own dimension, and you get to choose which one of these dimensions you're living in, because all the dimensions that you can possibly think of in your mind, they exist, but you can only get there by changing these three things. Your actions. What are you doing when you wake up in the morning? You know, are you rolling over and you're thanking God and you're showing gratitude? When something triggers you, are you staying in a negative vibratory frequency? Are you learning how to, okay, I'm gonna let that go? What are your beliefs? Somebody told you can't do it. Do you believe it? You get to choose by changing these things about yourself. Okay, once again, if you want to join the UNA University, leave your name, number, and email. We'd be glad to have you in there.